Hello, 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 everybody. What up? We're doing a Saturday stream. Yeah, man, a Saturday stream. A Saturday stream. The thumbnail, yeah, it's a little low effort. I'll be honest with you guys. It's a little low effort. Look. Here's the thing, okay? I kind of screwed up a little bit, okay? And I could use your guys' help. Also, what is up? Welcome, everybody. Happy 420 if you celebrate that. Happy holidays, you know? What up? Streams or NBA playoffs? The NBA playoffs are on right now? Who's playing right now? All right, I need some computer help. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. Stop the music. Part of the reason why I'm even going live is because I need tech support. So are you guys ready? You guys ready to be tech support? Josh, please talk more about MCU in a southern accent, please. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if we can do that. February 14th says, give me into the diamond, please. Yeah, they'll take care of you on the Discord, brother. And you can hit me up on the Discord, and I'll get you in there, too. Guys. Pop out the chat and get it over here. Guys, I need some help, okay? I need some help. Have I tried resetting it? Yeah, I tried. I tried a couple times. Okay, let me explain what happened. Was the 30 minutes of what gathering on Rebel Moon the best part of the movie? Yeah, we're gonna talk about Rebel Moon. I actually have a lot to say. I think, frankly, I'll be honest with you guys. I think I have the best Rebel Moon take on the internet. That's right, I said it. How many takes have you guys seen on Rebel Moon? How many streams, how many videos, how many have you seen? That it's bad? No, I'm going to give you like, okay, so if it's bad is a hot pocket, right? And like breaking it down and telling you why it's bad is like, let's say spaghetti and meatball. And then let's say like doing a real deep dive on it and like actually going into some good points or like saying it in a hilarious way or something like that is like, I don't know, a lobster carbonara, nice smoky carbonara sauce and some fucking fresh cut peas. You know what I mean? I'm going to give you the creme de la creme, like a big, long Beauty and the Beast style table, smorgasbord, full of unbelievable treats. Yeah. But before we get into that, let me explain how I screwed up, and let me get some tech support from you guys, because maybe you noticed I'm looking a different way than I normally do on streams. Maybe some of you guys are like, dude, I don't give a fuck. Listen to me. I'm looking this way because this monitor isn't working. And I need to explain what happened, and then you guys need to help me out with tech support. Because when we did our Twitch-only stream earlier today, you guys actually did help me out and help me figure out something that was wrong with the computer. And we got it fixed, and I'm feeling much better about it. But in the process of fixing that, I have fucked up the monitor situation, so I need your help on that. Fifi, what's up? Good to see you. All right, so let me explain what happened. Okay, so last time on Dragon Ball Z was breaking down the problem with the RAM. Okay, so remember I said one of the computer fell over and one of the like light up RAM things wasn't working anymore. So I started switching around the RAM to see if it was the actual slots of RAM or if it was the motherboard, right? I was trying to figure it out. Okay, and I ended up getting it to the point where they were both lighting up, but then the computer like wouldn't turn on at all. And I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, here we go. So I unplugged everything. I had the computer in the car. Like I just took my tower into the car because we were running out to do errands anyway. I was like, we'll just go to Best Buy and I will ask them what the hell is going on and how to fix it. There was like a little orange light on the motherboard for the RAM. So anyway, long story short, I figured out when I was in the car that you actually have to like have the RAM inserted. And then there's like this little extra thing on top that you have to clip in. And then it like really gets the RAM. Dude wanted Best Buy to fix it. They have the Geek Squad at Best Buy. What are you talking about, Steven? What are you talking about? Geek Squad, that's what they're for. They fix the computers. Okay, anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. The point is, I figured out that you have to click them in to get them to actually be. So then, because I was like, oh, thank God. I went back into the house. You gotta listen. Are you guys listening? Are you paying attention? Let me take a break and sip my coffee. This was a terrible day for this to happen, by the way. Terrible day for this to happen. Okay. Oh, Jesus Christ. Darth Crypto says, Josh, wasn't Rebel Moon supposed to be the new Star Wars? Wasn't Rebel Moon supposed to give us hope? What the fuck happened to that? Yeah. Cool, bro. Cool story. We'll talk about that later. Jake says, you opened another box of Coke and raged, didn't you? No, but I might have to. Okay. So I come back inside. I plug the RAM in properly, and I plug the stuff into the computer, but I don't plug everything into the computer because Liam and Elise are in the car, so I got to go back into the car. So I plug in the one monitor. This one, the one that's not working anymore. Okay? And I plug it in. It boots up. It starts talking about, like, your fucking system was all fucked up. You need to turn it off properly, blah, blah, blah. So then I click some stuff on that monitor. And it's like, okay, we're going to reset it. Right? And I'm like, okay, great. And then I leave. I come back home. I start plugging everything in again. Now this monitor, the only one that was plugged in before I left, the one that was there for me to figure out the reset, now that one won't turn on. Or it'll turn on. It can't get a signal from the computer. And on top of that, and this I really need you to pay attention to, okay? Windows 10. Windows 10, Ryan. Listen to this next part, because I think this is actually probably important to what's happening. I can't even get to the proper display options menu. Unplug the other HDMIs. There's nothing else connected to HDMI. It's that one that has like the flat side and then the corner side. That's not HDMI. That's my other monitor is connected that way. So upgrade to Windows 11? Fuck that, bro. No. Windows 11 is dog shit. Unless you're telling me that they've fixed it and it's not better. DVI. Okay, so yeah, I had the DVI thing on there. Listen, Linda, listen. You're not... Linda, listen. The one that is not working is HDMI, okay? Now, here's the important part. I can't even get to what I think happened, guys, was there was a Windows update happening, and it got like corrupted or fucked up. Have you ever had it where you have to go into the fucking, you know what I'm talking about, like the control panel, and then have like a little like exclamation point on like one of your USB ports, and then you have to like uninstall the drivers and then install the drivers? I feel like it's something like that, but I can't like quite figure out what it is. Yeah. So basically, re-download your drivers. That's, yeah, is that the move? For the graphics card? Is that what you're saying? Update the drivers on the graphics card. That's what you guys are saying, right? Because if I go to display settings right now, it gives me this weird menu. It has the color, nightlight, HD color settings. Wait. Hang on. Okay, so there is multiple displays, and I go to detect it, and it doesn't detect any other display. Detect. Advanced display settings. Yeah, and it only has that one plugged in. That's so weird. If it's not detecting it, it's probably the drivers. Probably spilled Coke on it. How dare you? Change the cord. Yeah, I'll try that. Unfortunately, I need a longer cord. There were a couple of HDMI cords that I tried, and I was like, oh, unless I change this, if I put this monitor here, I could do it. Or if I put the PC over there, I could do it. But I didn't want to mess with all that. How many monitors do you have plugged in versus how many are working? I have 2 plugged in, and 1 is working. Josh probably raged in his computer after watching Rebel Moon 2. God damn it. Daredevil? Yes, I've got plenty of Daredevil Cokes. My only advice is to buy everything new and start from the ground up. Great. Good advice. Fantastic. Anybody else? Anybody else got some? Rebel Moon is trash. Oh, Jesus. Should we start talking about Rebel Moon? Is it Rebel Moon time? Watch Shogun? I've been watching every single episode of Shogun, and I love it, dude. It's fantastic. Look, the main thing is we can't game today. That's the main thing. It's like I can't game with a 1-monitor setup. So no Fortnite. Hopefully I can get it fixed by Monday. You mean Rebel? Shit, let's talk about it. Oh, good for you. How many days until the Coke Hulk reveals himself again? Hopefully never again. I'm trying to be peaceful, man. I still haven't seen part 1. Oh, really? You could skip it. You could probably skip it. Part 3 ain't getting lit. Green lit. Okay. Here, let's good luck on your passive non-soda life. I don't know what that means, but thanks. All right. Let's talk about this shit. Ryan's doing a 30K giveaway. Josh needs to up his game. I'm just going to give away Cokes. No 30K from me, just Cokes. And maybe like a good job, buddy. You know, something like that. All right, let's talk about Rebel Moon. Like I said, I think honestly I have the best Rebel Moon take on the internet. I'm sure there's a lot of people talking about it. From what I've seen, most people are super negative on it. By the way, has anybody actually seen anyone that's being positive about it? I'd love to know. And And so we had Rebel Moon Part 1 come out. And the thing is, I definitely gassed that movie up. And I was very excited about it. I love Zack Snyder's work. And yeah, I'm a big fan. And so I thought there would be like this perfect storm of like scorned Star Wars fans, scorned DC fans, and Rebel Moon would be this new IP. And oh my God, we'd all, get around that and support it and be excited about it. Now, this whole thing has been super weird. I remember even when it was first shown at Brazil, it was like a Brazilian Comic-Con, and like Brazil loves Zack. Like, he's been going to that exact con and for years, and the Brazilian crowd absolutely loves him. And I remember after that screening, there was sort of a weird feeling in the air because there were a lot of negative reviews coming from even that group, that Comic-Con group, which is a little odd. I mean, you would honestly expect a Comic-Con group like that to be pretty excited almost regardless of what you would see them. Okay, so then, the reviews come out for it for the first part, and it came, they were pretty bad. I watched the first part, and I was pretty shocked at how much I didn't like it. There's some cool stuff in there, but I have a bunch of problems with the movie, which I've talked about on stream a couple of times before. I never made a video about it. There were people on Twitter make a review about this. I think they just want to see me do a video about it and really, really shit on it. So this'll be the closest I get to that, I guess. So watched part 2, and I think it's even worse. I will tell you this for sure. I had even less of a good time watching it. Okay? And because I gassed this thing up so much, because I'm such a Snyder fan, I mean, I really fucking like Zack Snyder. I don't want to say anything super negative about it. I don't want to be really mean about the movie, right? So it sort of puts me in a weird spot. But I found a way to analyze it, and I think it's actually an accurate take on what happened. I'm just curious, too. How many of you guys are in a similar boat to me, or at least insofar as you like Zack's stuff, you like a lot of his movies, and you watched Rebel Moon, and you're like, I don't get it. I personally, don't know what happened. I'm wondering, is there anybody in that category where you're like, dude, I'm trying to make sense of this. Zack is usually known for this. Zack usually does this. And then you go into it and you're like, bro, I'm unfortunately, I'm not seeing anybody in the chat that's in that. You guys probably came in looking for blood, didn't you? God damn. You guys were probably already looking for blood. Oh my God. Okay. Well, that's to kind of just tell you where I'm at. I really, really like Zack, and I'm a big fan of his work. So it's kind of shocking for me how bad these movies are and why they're so bad. Okay? The more I thought about it, especially as I was watching part 2 last night, I was like, I think I understand what happened here. So, number one, there's something going around. This comes from Zack, and he was saying that these other movies, right, his extended cuts, they're going to be totally different films. He's not even taking the same takes. So there will be none of the footage in his cuts are in the Netflix cuts. Now, before I kind of explain why this fucked everything up, let me just kind of explain the macro here. Because at the end of the day, the story of Rebel Moon is actually the story of a big experiment gone wrong. That's what I think happened ultimately. This was an experiment by Netflix and by Zack. And it's an experiment that failed. Unfortunately for Zack, and it kind of pains me to say this, I think it failed on such a big stage, and they took such a big shot with this that it's going to be like a pretty big, embarrassing L for him. I don't know that they'll make the third one. I assume they're still going to make the extended cuts. I don't see why they wouldn't at this point, because I think they essentially paid for the production of all of them at the same time. Kind of makes sense to me, right? But I mean, yeah, so that's like a whole other thing. But getting back to the point. So the word is Netflix wants a PG-13. They want something a little bit more mass appeal. Zach's vision for Rebel Moon, and you know this if you watch Zach on Rogan, which I thought was a fantastic episode of Rogan. Zach's vision for Rebel Moon is like heavy metal. It's like super sexual, super hyper violent. It's Zack Snyder. Like, that's, he loves that kind of shit. So to him, that's Rebel Moon. But Netflix was like, I don't know. We want something a little bit more mass appeal, something more accessible. And so they agreed on this really weird structure where Zach would release PG or PG-13 cuts of Rebel Moon. And then he's going to release his extended, super sexual, super violent versions of the movie, okay? That is just facts. That's what happened. That's what's going on, okay? So what I think that kind of amounts to, and there was this important thing that Zach said that kind of made me realize this as I was watching the movie last night. He's not even taking the best takes for this PG-13 thing. Okay? So what that means is every single take we saw in the versions of Rebel Moon that are currently out there are at best the second best take and potentially even further down the list. And what that means for a director like Zach that is known for such a style and aesthetic is what would normally happen on a Zack Snyder movie is he would, storyboard and shoot, probably look at the shots, look at the takes, and he would pick the one that was the most visually impactful and put it into his movies. So we are literally watching Zach do like a less Zach version of Zach just by the nature of the way that they are choosing the takes for that movie. That's number one. Okay? So when I was, because again, I'm like, there's only like a couple of shots in number two and a few shots in number one that I think are like up to par with like his visual palette. That, I think even most people that don't like Zach can agree he's done some visually stunning sequences. He's very good as like a cinematic painter. Like he's just very good at picking those shots, making them really pop. So we're literally seeing him do that, but like save all the good shit for himself, right? So I'm like, oh, like maybe that's part of the reason that it's not going. But here's the other thing, and this is really the take, and I think this is, in my opinion, what happened is when you write and when you craft a story, you come with ideas. But those ideas are not the story. The story is something you meet while working on the ideas. It's like this really interesting phenomenon that happens in whether you do this through multiple plotting or you just write and rewrite. There's, in the practice of writing, you sort of find what the story is. Some people call it the muse. Some people just call it like the weird alchemy of storytelling. It's really not the case that good writers bring ideas and then those ideas are the story. It's something else. It's like it's something you kind of find. You know what I mean? The point is, when Zach wrote this thing, and this is the thing that kills me, is like he spent so much of his own personal time and energy on this stuff, right? When he found the story through that process of bringing the ideas in and then working through them, doing the actual work of writing, it was full of hyper grotesque, stylized violence and super like crazy amounts of sexuality. Okay? Are you still with me, chat? Do you understand what I'm saying? That's the story. The story is full of that stuff. So when you remove that stuff for the PG cut of Rebel Moon, you end up removing all of the story and you're just left with ideas. And I think Rebel Moon, Part 1 and Part 2, so far, the Netflix versions, are so unbelievably flat and sterile. It's just a series of ideas. There's no human connection to the characters. There's no, like, way to connect the plot points. It feels like a really bad D&D campaign where every character feels like they're the spotlight. If you've ever played D&D, and if you've ever been a dungeon master, you spread the spotlight around. You'll have like something happen in one session, and it puts the spotlight on one of your characters in particular. Rebel Moon, it feels like the characters are all really narcissistic Dungeons and Dragons players that all need the spotlight in every single scene of every single session. It's just ideas put together, and they seem really whimsical. It's super flat. There's nothing to connect to. And I think the reason that people are going so hard on Part 2, because I was told by a lot of people, Part 2 is actually way better. And I think a lot of Zack fans are surprised to see people going even harder on Part 2, or being like, it's getting shit on, bro. Like, real bad. Even worse than the first one. And I think the reason why is because some people, I think, were expecting the movie to start and it to just have a totally different kind of feel, and for it to kind of just be like, okay, Part 1, that was, you know, whatever, but now we're here and now we're rolling. Like, let's get going. We're going to do this thing. And that doesn't happen. If anything, as a viewer, I felt transported right back to the worst parts of Part 1. The stuff that I found to be completely cringe, that was super irritating, that just made me literally uncomfortable as I'm watching it. So I think that's probably what's happening to a lot of people. Like, they're literally in Part 2 taken right fucking back to where they were in Part 1, where they basically decided they hate this movie. And it doesn't really escape the grip of that for me. That is what the movie is. It is 2 hours of, I kind of fucking hate this, but I'm going to see where it goes. It's honestly not enjoyable in any way for me. And I feel really bad saying that because, again, I like Zack. Yeah, so that's my hypothesis on what happened, because other than that, I can't really make sense of it. Like, as a writer, sometimes because the story is in your head and it like makes sense up here, sometimes like you'll just do stuff in scenes and you take for granted the knowledge you have in your head. That's why it's very useful to have people that haven't, you know, experienced your stuff to give you feedback, because they don't know all the things that you know. There's stuff in the movie, like in Part 2, where she goes to grab one of the swords and it like burns her. And Elisa's like, yo, what? And I was like, yeah, that's why the other lady had to cut her hands off. And you're not supposed to be able to do that unless you have like a special glove or whatever, because they just get so hot. And she's like, oh yeah, that's interesting. I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure they've never explained that in the movies though. I just know that from like the ancillary stuff. The point there is like, the shit is thought through. It's just the narrative doesn't unfold in a way that takes us through the information. Do you know what I mean? So, like, in my opinion, it's an experiment that Zach and Netflix tried, and this experiment failed horribly. This experiment blew up. This experiment destroyed half of the school. This experiment is going to delay the next semester. Like, it's bad. Right? So, I don't know where we go from here. You know, I really don't. I don't know where we go from here. I don't know what Zach's going to do. I think Zach's trying to kind of just feel out what this is. And I think at some point he's going to have to come face to face. I hope, right? I hope that he kind of just comes face to face with the fact that, like, you made two really bad movies, bro. And some people like them. Like, that is chill. But a lot of people didn't. And there were a lot of people like me that, like, fucking ride with Zach. You know what I mean? That are like, bro, this is not it at all. So I don't even know that it will matter. But I personally, you know, if you're ready, here we go. Let me take a sip of this copium real quick. Yeah. So I say all of that to say, still holding out hope for those extended cuts, baby. Let's go. That's the real Rebel Moon. Don't you guys get it? We haven't even seen Rebel Moon yet. It's all about those extended cuts, baby. It's going to be the new Star Wars. It's going to be the next big franchise. And after we get the extended cuts, we're going to look back at these Netflix cuts, and we're going to be like, bro, what the fuck were they thinking? And if they're not dope, I'm going to lose my goddamn mind. Come on, Zach. Make these things fucking hard as nails. Boy! All right. That actually took a lot out of me. That was like an emotional toll. That was an emotional toll. I gotta... What the hell? Oh, this is me trying to figure out my monitors. Yeah, that took an emotional toll on me. I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark. So I might need to go take a nap. Yeah. Anyways, what do you guys think? Is that, you think that's what happened? And look, just that's the best Rebel Moon take you've seen on the internet. Just be honest. Nobody else has this shit thought out. Bunch of unoriginal freaking, oh, it's so bad. Shush. Oh, it's bad. Slow motion. So much of it. Dude is not a good writer. Yep, that's a good take. God damn it, that's not what I said. He hurt himself on the copium. Nah, you were too nice. What? If the extended cut doesn't have an extra hour of slow-mo earth farming in space, I'm gonna lose it. I mean, bro, it's so bad. Like, there's when Titus at one point just goes, gather up all your villagers. I remember I laughed out loud at this part. He's like, gather up all your villagers. And they're all like just standing there in front of him. And he's like, dark days lie ahead of us. And I just thought to myself, if I was in that crowd, I'd be like, yo, who the fuck is this man? I have never seen this motherfucker before. Dark days? Who are you, bro? And then there's this part where he explains that they're gonna have to do the whole harvest in the next 3 days, and a guy in the crowd literally goes like this and takes his own hat off. He like and like takes his own hat off, and I just remember like laughing hysterically out loud at that shit. Oh, it's so bad, bro. Oh, it's so bad, bro. Diamond Jeep, appreciate the 10 minute, says, Josh, I've got a perfect Deadpool can I'm looking to trade. I looked through the carry hole before I bought it. That's pretty smart of you. My can has a character centered with the drinking spot. I missed out on the Daredevil run. Let me know. So what you're saying is the Daredevil cans are valuable? Wait a minute. Did we just crack some kind of code? Are the Daredevil cans now the most rare? Well, hot damn. We're in the money now, boy. Copium is an insect. Call the exterminator. Ugh, jeez. More sex and gore won't fix a broken film. Agent Llama. I know you're hating, and I get it. But I also know that you understand what I said. I know that you know it's a good take. Do I need to explain it again? They're worth $5 a can now? I'm fucking rich, bro. Do I need to explain? Oh, I think it's all BS. You don't understand? Okay, here we go. Let me explain it again. I probably didn't do a good job explaining it the first time. So let me explain it again. When you write, you come to the writing with ideas. But ideas are not a story. I've read a lot of bad stuff. I've written bad stuff. I know what it is. There's something that happens when you're writing a story, like an alchemy that happens. You take the ideas and they merge with other things that you find as you are writing. That becomes a story. Then, if you take those things, which in the case of Zach would be violence and sexuality, and if those are like the fucking mortar that's holding the story together, and then you remove that shit, you are left with just ideas. That explains the flatness. That explains why it's just like there, and characters are just doing things instead of things having an action reaction kind of a situation. It is the greatest take that I've ever had in the history of takes. It makes the most sense out of anything I've ever sensed. Alan Moore agrees with me. Yeah, of course. Great minds. J-Man with a $14 holla. Thanks for that, man. I appreciate it. Says, I actually liked part 2 while I was off the blinkers. Dude, I don't know if there's enough blinkers for me, but yeah. Okay. More of a turn off your brain movie for me. I also liked the sword fights. Just me though, G. At least Space Hitler is dead, or so we think. Oh, man. Well, first of all, thanks. I appreciate the support. I really didn't enjoy it. I did not have a good time, bro. And I found it difficult to enjoy any part of it, if I'm being honest with you. But I think part of it for me is like the way I enjoy things, because we've been talking about this a little bit in like the Discord and whatnot, and even on some of the streams. like, I tend to really value immersion. And so if a story, a movie, or a show can immerse me, I can forgive a lot if I'm still immersed. But the opposite is also true. If I'm not immersed, ooh, it's really hard for me to enjoy any part of it. You know what I mean? I'm trying to think of like bad movies that I enjoy. What do you guys, what are some like bad movies that you enjoy? Name me some bad movies. Like, I guess technically the first prequel movie is one of those. Bullet Train. Yeah, I would say Bullet Train's not necessarily bad. It's just okay. Venom. I think Venom's a really good example. This is what I'm talking about. Venom, Spider-Man 3, I can't enjoy that one for whatever reason. That one's like too far beyond the pale. But Venom's a great example. Venom is a movie that like I can acknowledge it's bad. Like I can, even as I'm watching it, I can be like, yeah, this isn't good. But it's so consistent with its own world that like I fuck with it. You know what I mean? Like I can just be in the Venom world and I'm good. Like I can enjoy that movie. For whatever reason, Rebel, and maybe it's just because of my expectations or because of like the road leading up to it or whatever, I could not. I had the opposite of enjoyment watching it. It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. But I'm glad you liked it. I wish I did. Maybe I'll revisit it. I'm kind of in the zone of just wanting to wait for the extended cuts though. And yeah, I mean, look, I'll just say, like, it's my honest feelings are, like, really disappointed, you know? I really thought it could be super cool. But I appreciate the super chat, though. Thank you. Totally Recall? You mean Total Recall? Dude, the original Total Recall is amazing. That's an incredible movie. It's good stuff. Multiverse of Madness? No, that movie's good. Underworld? Underworld's dope. You don't like Underworld? Come on, man. I'm just going to catch up on a couple of these chats here, and then we'll keep going. Hot take. If someone needs multiple drafts to release and 4 hours to tell a story, that's still okay at very best. They're bad at making movies. I respect your opinion and your take and whatever. Jake says you... Oh, no, we are sorry. Better than one other writer. Yeah. Jake says, get Sydney Sweeney's Doinkers in to save part 3. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. Arthur says, I smell a lot of blinkers in the chat today. Blinker crew, assemble. Happy 420. Nerdvengers, love you guys. Papa, how are you and the fam? That Coke stream had me laughing. Yeah, much love. Where is Babu? Where is Babu? Oh, he's right over here. Babu's over here. In fact, let's slap him on some Coke. Get little Babu going. How am I in the fam? We're good, man. Got some stuff done. I was actually working on a lot of writing this morning. Worked on a little bit of video stuff, and then went out for errands. And then I was like, yeah, I want to talk to you guys because I have the greatest take of all time when it comes to Rebel Moon. And chat agrees with me, so it's pretty cool. And yeah, I think we're okay. Eric Meyer says, love the streams. 90% of your takes are great. Who wins? Endgame Cap or Shang-Chi? Dude, Shang-Chi, and it wouldn't even be close, unfortunately. But we're talking about like a one-on-one fight, right? I mean, I guess Cap and his savviness would have a chance. You give Cap Mjolnir and he'll be whooping Shang-Chi's ass. I'll tell you that for sure. But just the shield versus the 10 rings? I guess if you take away the 10 rings, it would be pretty close. Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting one. What? Lots of movies go through many drafts. Yeah, I mean, obviously, you need a lot of drafts, yeah. Wait, what's frickin' Trev saying here? Do you think Zach is taking feedback from these two releases to enhance his cuts, like what people liked and didn't? Maybe he has shots he can curate to that effect. It's possible. It's possible. That's kind of what he did with the Snyder Cut. And I think the Snyder Cut is fantastic. And if you don't like the Snyder Cut, I don't know what to do for you, because that shit was dope. Okay, also, we need some more likes. Okay? I'm in here. I'm working on a Saturday. I'm kind of holding the L, you know, a little bit. I'm like halfway holding the L here. And I'm opening up about my feelings when it comes to fucking Rebel Moon. So smash a like on it. What L? Good point. Yeah. Josh, what assurances can you give us that you will no longer have Zack Snyder make future Unity film? Keep him the hell away. I would give Zack the Unity film immediately. In fact, I may or may not be actually already talking to him about it. What do you think about that? Have you talked about the X-Men rumor yet? I have not, but I'm ready. I'm ready if you're ready. Cool mug. Thanks. 100% L. Much love, but it's an L. All right, I'll take it. All right, here's what I'll say, chat. Okay? Let's pause the music. And also, did I leave the dogs outside? Are they outside right now? All right, let me let these dogs in. And also, you're going to be able to see this shirt. And it's fucking dope. So give me 1 second. Puppies? Oh, what the hell? You guys aren't even outside. You're whining from this door? Come on, man. Wario shirt? Come on. The drip's out of control. Wario shirt? Come on, man. Ah! Okay. Is your monitor plugged into the GPU or plugged into your motherboard display? It is plugged into the graphics card. They're both plugged into the graphics card. Just notice Babu in the background? Hell yeah, Babu's chilling. I'm a warrior. I'm gonna win. I gotta get that down. Can we watch a Rebel Moon review? God, I really don't want to. I really don't want to. Is Babu in Unity? Not Volume 1, but maybe he's the actual big bad. Maybe there's a big twist and I can't spoil it for you guys. How about that? Should have been Luigi for the L you're holding. The W isn't adding up. Okay, so I'm a little pissed that you said that. However, it is kind of cool that that's a W. Yeah, because Wario, you're right. You're right, dude. I'm holding the W. I did watch Jeremy's review. Actually, I don't think I watched Jeremy John's review of this. I think I watched his review of something else. I want to talk about the X-Men rumor. There's cool stuff happening with the X-Men, and I want to talk about that, okay? So how about this? Let's talk about the X-Men rumor. Then maybe I'll watch Jeremy's review of Rebel Moon. And then we'll get out of here. Just a nice little 420 Saturday stream. Just a nice little stream, okay? Let me find this. Let me find this. Try Windows key P to see if the setting is clicked for multiple displays. Windows key P. It says, okay, would I, PC screen only? Duplicate. Which one do I click? We'll do that later. All right, let me find this now. Because this is cool, man. Hell yeah. Okay. So because of my stupid setup here, I'm going to have to just read this off for you guys, but I still think it's really cool. So give me just a second and we'll do this. I suppose slight spoilers, but it's really just all rumor stuff. And we should even take this as just a rumor. We don't know for sure, right? But it's pretty cool. So I want to go over it and I want to explain why I think this is so damn cool. Not right? Not right? Yummy, yummy, yummy. Okay. Here we go. All right, so we got a X-Men update. This is crazy. It comes from Holyfield News. Says here, this film will release after Avengers 5 and will take place in the alternate universe that we last seen in the Marvels. Now, he's calling it Earth 267 right now. It's kind of interesting. We'll see if that's real. He goes on to say, some Avengers and X-Men are united as the team in this universe. Heroes in this reality also came in contact with Kang before, okay? Professor X and Binary is going to be the main focus of this universe, with her bangles being a key factor throughout the film. Casting for the X-Men is expected to begin early next year, months before production. Now, on its own, you might be like, I don't get it. Why is this so dope? What does this mean? Well, it lines up with a lot of other shit we've been talking about, a lot of other things we've been hearing, and I think I now understand what Feige is going to be doing with the X-Men, okay? Somebody asked, like, last week or something, are the X-Men going to be coming from a separate universe just like the Fantastic Four? And I was like, nah, I don't think so. I hope not. Well, I think the answer is yes. I actually think the answer is yes. And if this is true, what it is basically saying is that the universe that we see at the end of the Marvels, right, with Kelsey Grammer Beast, that universe is an extension of the Fox X-Men movie universes, all right? And what that means is they are going to do an X-Men movie, the one they're doing right now, the one they are developing right now. It's going to be taking place on that universe, and it's going to be dealing with the multiverse, and it's going to be dealing with Maria Rambeau over there in that universe, okay? Now, a couple of crazy things about this. I also believe that that universe that we see, and all we see is Kelsey Grammer Beast, and we see Binary, and that's Monica, right? Or Maria. I get them mixed up. Which one's the mom? Okay. So that universe, I believe, is the universe that Wolverine might be from. The one we see in Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah. So I think what Feige is doing is he's going to set up the X-Men movie, and the next time we see the X-Men, it'll be that cast, Fox X-Men characters. And this will allow them, especially because it's going to come out after Avengers 5. So they're going to start developing this now. You're going to have Avengers 5. I don't know if you'll have, like, the destruction of 616 in that movie or not, but I think you'll basically get towards Battleworld some way with the Beyonder, right? So after that movie, we'll then have an X-Men movie, which will be very traditional because it's literally going to be an extension of the Fox X-Men universe from which we are pulling a lot of these characters for Deadpool and then eventually Secret Wars. That universe will have fought Kang before, they understand what the Bengals are and what they do, because remember, Binary has them. And they're going to know, about other universes. Maria's there, and it's going to be like them trying to stop an incursion, trying to stop the collapse of the multiverse. And so you'll have an X-Men movie, likely with a lot of Fox actors, well, not 100%, but they will be there, and then they will also be in Secret Wars, probably, Battle World. Maybe it'll look like The Void, maybe it'll look like something else. But what that kind of means, because one of the things that I was thinking was like, okay, so if we're doing all the Fox X-Men in Secret Wars, right? Well, you're not doing the Fox X-Men in Deadpool, really. They were going to do that. There was a version of the movie that was going to go back to the other movies and show a lot of their canonical universe. Well, it kind of seems like now most of it's going to take place on the Void, and you're going to just have Fox X-Men characters there via the destruction of different universes. So I was like, okay, well, this is cool, but how do we develop those characters, especially if they're not quite the versions from the other Fox movies? Well, this new X-Men movie provides that perfect opportunity. It's also kind of like either Secret Wars Part 05 or Secret Wars Part 2, because if Secret Wars, like Apple Pie 1, right? Avengers 5. If that's the first movie, and then we're essentially getting an X-Men movie in a different universe with them dealing with the collapse of the multiverse. That's kind of like Avengers 6, but it's X-Men. There's going to be some Avengers. One of the people from 616 there, really crazy stuff. They're going to have to deal with some shit, and then they're going to end up on Battleworld. That's fascinating. That's almost like a trilogy, and it kind of explains how they could do Avengers versus X-Men if they ended up pushing them together and making them fight 616 versus whatever that Fox X-Men universe is. That would allow them to do that technically before Secret Wars or before Avengers 6, and then you would have all of them together fighting. Now, what that also probably means is I think this is a way for them to, however they cast this new X-Men movie, I'm kind of curious, are they casting for just the movie in Secret Wars? Because there has to be a through line between those characters in that X-Men movie into Secret Wars. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense, right? But then it's okay, are we then taking them beyond it to the soft reboot? Because right now, the thing that we're all asking ourselves, the thing that's going on with the Fantastic Four is they're establishing the Fantastic Four. They come from a different universe, but they are the Fantastic Four. So after Secret Wars, I think Pedro is still Reed Richards for whatever this new universe is, right? Well, are they doing that now with the Fox X-Men? Is that why there were so many rumors of the Fox X-Men sticking around for longer than we thought? A lot of us assume that the post-Secret Wars MCU will probably have a lot of young faces, right? Let's stop for a second. Do you guys think that? I think a lot of people kind of just come in with that idea that in the post-Secret Wars MCU, if they do a soft reboot, they'll probably do a younger Iron Man, they'll probably do a younger Cap, they'll probably go to younger actors so that there's longevity. That kind of makes sense, right? How many of you guys share that opinion? How many of you guys think that's what it's going to be? Not young faces, just new faces? Maybe. What if it's the opposite of that? Because one of the things they did in the new Ultimates universe, and I'm really interested in how much of this Hickman Ultimate stuff is going to end up in the MCU, right? What if it's Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man in the soft reboot. Right? So instead of going with younger people, you go with older people, and you just make the universe have a history that we were not really a part of. That's what they're doing in the Ultimate universe. It's like Peter is 35. He was supposed to be Spider-Man 20 years ago. It's a little bit different with what they're doing, but he eventually becomes Spider-Man, but he's 35 as Spider-Man, right? So, because part of me was like, nah, they're not going to keep the Fox characters, because in a post, MCU 616 thing, multiversal saga, the soft reboot, they're going to want fresh faces, reset this thing up, and keep it going. But what if it's on a smaller timetable, right? So as opposed to them like wanting to run that thing out for 10, 20, 30 years, what if they're thinking about 5 years and they just bring in the older people, do a bunch of movies with them all interconnected? There's a Fantastic Four and X-Men, Avengers. It's all in the same world. It's almost like as if Feige had all the rights right away. Boom. That's the universe we're now in. But there's something wrong about it. It's unraveling. There's a mystery here, and it's all breaking down. But what if that's what it is? And it's just like 5 to 6 years of that. That's like heavy speculation, and it's like far into the future. But the main point is this story here about the X-Men, I think it's true. And I'm frankly excited about it. I think this is a good move. I'm a bit like, I don't love a lot of the stuff I'm hearing about the Fantastic Four movie. However, one of the things I really don't like about the Fantastic Four movie, and this is just a rumor, is the fact that there's going to be no other heroes. And I hope that's not true, because I think the Fantastic Four work great with other Marvel heroes, right? But the rumor is that's going to be a universe where they're the only heroes. It's like Batman Begins. There's nobody else. It's just the Fantastic Four. Kind of hate it, right? Now, the X-Men universe, especially if it's the one from the post-credit scene of the Marvels, we already know it's not just the X-Men, because we can see Binary. That's Captain Marvel in that universe. And the rumor here says Avengers and X-Men united as a team in that universe. So if it's just like an alternate, like, I am totally okay with a new version of the Fox X-Men universe tightened up, and we get a whole ass X-Men movie in that universe that's dealing with the multiverse that then leads us into Secret Wars. I'm going to be honest with you, I love that idea. Like, I think that's perfect, and it means more fun with the Fox X-Men characters before we get through the Secret Wars thing. Like, I don't know. I think it's fantastic. That's what the rumor is. What do you think, Chet? What do you think? Also, I have to have a drink here, but I'm almost out of water in my jug. I hope they allude to Spider-Man trying to join the Fantastic Four in the movie. Which one? The Fantastic Four movie? I don't even think he's there. Keke Palmer as the next Iron Man, says the Internet Menace. Well, good thing your name is so serious. I know that you're not trolling, given the incredibly serious nature of your username. Soren Sound says, kids are no longer Star Wars fans. It is not a thing for them anymore, and probably never will be again. Time to start making Star Wars for adults. Don't need gore, but PG-13 Vader show is a start. I mean, look, I will agree with you that kids are not really into Star Wars right now, okay? But I'll put that mostly at the feet of the sequel trilogy, you know? Like, real talk, the prequels, when they came out, were maligned, and a lot of older fans really hated them. But a lot of younger fans really liked them, and they did create a bunch of really passionate, like the new generation of passionate Star Wars fans, right? So you kind of can't deny that, like, they served that purpose. And I think the sequels, had the sequels done that and actually connected with this whole new generation and, like, created a bunch of new young Star Wars fans, then I would, even though I don't like those movies, I would be like, all right, well, at least they did that. But I don't even think they did that. Now, don't get me wrong. They absolutely did for at least a few people. Like that, it just has to be the case that there are some young fans of Rey, maybe young girls, maybe even young males, that did get brought into Star Wars via the sequels. Like that is absolutely a fact. But I think we can also look to the numbers, especially when it comes to merchandise and some other things. It's obviously not doing what the prequels did. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, it didn't work, right? So I lay it at the feet of that. PG-13 Star Wars, in certain places, yeah, sure. If you're telling me Star Wars needs to grow up, I disagree completely. I disagree 100% with that. Star Wars does not need to grow up. It can stay for kids. That doesn't mean it has to be stupid. It can still be sophisticated, but it does have to be aimed at sort of a child's sense of adventure and optimism. I 100% think that's what it is. I mean, we saw the universe on Doctor Strange with Fantastic Four and X-Men and the Avengers. Shouldn't there be a Fantastic Four and X-Men on main MCU? Yeah, there should be, but there's also obviously not, right? So whether that's just because of some tinkering from He Who Remains, whether that's just, like, I don't fully understand it, but it's obviously not the case. A lot of the EU was not for kids. Amazing books. Well, here's the thing. I would frame it a little differently. I would say there were certainly books within the EU that were not aimed at kids. Ironically, I think they're some of the least successful EU books. So one of the first things that happened in the EU was the split between, like, Zahn's stuff and Dark Empire. These are actually two alternative tellings of, like, what happens after Palpatine shit. And ironically, the darker, more mature one didn't go. It was the one that felt more like Star Wars. The one with, like, Han and Chewie and Luke and Thrawn. So they actually gravitate towards that. And then the following series of books and all of those other, like, Fate of the Jedi and all that sort of stuff, it's pretty fucking wholesome, dude. It just feels like Star Wars. So I know there's some stuff that is, like, there were even, there's even some other, like, darker stuff that happened in the EU. But by and large, like, the stuff that was embraced by the most fans was the most wholesome stuff. Mr. J. West, man. Thanks for the 5, man. Appreciate you. Says, all this talk of Star Wars is making me want to put on Revenge of the Sith and take a nice little 420 nap. Stay up, my nerdy friends. That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. That's a pretty good movie. Guys, I'm pretty thirsty. I think I need to go get a Coke. Is that chill? Plagueis book is the one that comes to mind for me. I mean, I love the Plagueis book. I wonder, I mean, you would think it did pretty well, right? I know it's like, it's held in, like, high esteem among EU fans. I want to say Plagueis technically comes out, though, like, Plagueis is an interesting one because I think it came out towards the very end of that. I want to say it was published in the early aughts, right? So, when was Plagueis published? Somebody look that up. I'm going to go get a Coke. I'll be right back. I hate streaming with only one monitor. It sucks. 2012. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, it happens to be Daredevil. Yeah, it's Daredevil. Yep. Yep. Good old Matt Murdock. $5 down the drain. We got a lot of it. Don't worry. It's an embarrassment of riches over here. Hey, Josh, I'm from Canada. Do you think we get those Marvel Coke products? I want them so bad. Well, if you send me $10... Wait, no, because it's Canada. I can't ship stuff. I almost said I would do it for $10, but it's going to cost you like $100. If you send me $100, I'll send you one. Because it's Canada. He's never going to drink those cans. Going to drink every last one of them. Hell nah. I got to get these cans out of here. My point is that if we ever had something like that adapted onto the screen, we wouldn't want to tone that down for kids. We'd want to adapt it accurately. Yeah, well, again, being for kids does not mean you necessarily have to pull your punches. And I think darkness, like this might sound weird to you, but darkness is important for kids to know about. The original Brothers Grimm stuff, which is a lot of like the Disney shit, the early Disney shit, those were for kids. And they're for kids to scare the shit out of them. Because sometimes kids are very stupid and they need to be afraid of bad things. You know what I mean? So it's not even to say that it has to be watered down or like Disneyfied. That's not necessarily what I mean. When I say it's for kids, I think really what I'm saying is we're not trying to do a nuanced take of morality. It's for kids because it's supposed to come from the perspective to teach lessons, to give them something, to learn about themselves in the world. That's what I mean when it's for kids. It doesn't mean, oh, let's keep it super simple. You know what I mean? It reminds me of that Grant Morrison quote where he's like, yeah, kids get it. Kids don't think that crabs actually sing like in The Little Mermaid. They get it. It's a story. But you give adults fiction and they start asking these stupid fucking questions like, who pumps the tires in the Batmobile? Nobody. It's a fucking story. Nobody pumps the tires. So I actually think kids are a little bit more intuitive than adults when it comes to the story. Instead of thinking as we're talking down, no, like those are actually the people that get it. It's all these pedantic, whiny, groany, miserable adults that are the real problem. Come on, Josh. It's Alfred. Yeah, all right. Fair. Sev, welcome to the Nerd Avengers. Appreciate you. Too much drama and trauma in everything now. Not enough hope and adventure. People need to escape sometimes into something better. The hope and something to strive for. Yeah, totally. I agree with that. I agree with that. All right. I'll try to watch a review here. The problem, of course, is we're only on one monitor, so I don't know how this is going to work. Let me see here. But if I have that... Let me see if I can do this. Hang on. Hang on. Wait, what? What the hell? Ah, ha ha! And I can kind of see chat here. Okay, all right, okay. Okay, hang on. I saw another super chat come in, but okay, got it. Okay, Soren Sounds following up with another 10 spot. I appreciate the support. I don't know if I'll appreciate what you wrote in it, but I appreciate it. In all seriousness, thank you for the support. Okay, let's see here. But they are making Star Wars aimed at kids in a way that is cheesy, and kids don't even watch it anymore. They would have more success just putting an edge to it, so it's less corny. I think Star Wars has always been a little bit corny, man. If you go back and watch the OT, it's fucking corny, bro. Like, even the cast themselves was like, you can write this shit, but you can't say it. Harrison Ford's words. Like, it's opera. So I think it's always corny. That's what it is. The difference is, like, if it's executed properly, I think opera is like, you're just in it. And you're just like, oh shit, this is what at stake. This is how it's happening. And the music is a big part of it as it swells and stuff. Yeah, I mean, that's my answer, dude, is like, I disagree with where I think you're going with it. I do not need edgy Star Wars. I don't think edgy Star Wars is the way out of this. I mean, frankly, like, yeah, I just disagree, bro. But I appreciate the support. MC Drew says, in an MCU soft reboot, older actors would make sense. We don't want origin stories again for Cap, Tony, etc. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, we don't want the origins. We want to just go right into a lived-in universe where they all know each other. We want some shit to pop off over here. Then Spider-Man goes to the fucking Baxter building. Then they go to Avengers Tower. Like, that's what we want. We want it all together. And I think that's what you'll probably get. There's all kinds of opportunities to do cool shit like that. So I agree with you, and I hope they bring RDJ back too. Ha ha! All right, let's watch this. Star Wars Visions was edgy, and you like that? No? Was Star Wars? Would you describe Star Wars Visions as edgy? Would anybody else describe it as edgy? Josh, do you not think we need pedantic assholes to critique these good and awful pieces of media, like Kenobi, for example? I'll answer that. I will tell you exactly how I feel about that. I don't know how you'll feel about this answer, though. Let me take a sip of Coke here. Man, it's 420 and we're fucking streaming. You know what I mean? Like, we're fucking streaming. It's about to become a Diamond Lounge stream in here. In fact, I might have to take a puff of 100% legal, all natural tobacco. Give me 1 second. All right, here we go. Mike Porter! How you doing, Mike? It's good to see you, man. It's good to see you. All right, let me ponder the question here by Agent Llama Prop. Okay, here's how I would answer that. In my view of what this is, reality, every single person has, like, what I would describe as a singular puzzle piece to the overall infinite that is the universe. So you ask me, like, isn't it important that we have these pedantic assholes? 100%. Absolutely. It's essential. Because I only have one piece of this puzzle. And it's my piece. And being authentic to myself does not mean I am authentic to, like, the higher self or, like, the overall picture. There's something spicy about life where all of us have a mind that is pretty similar, and yet we have a mindset that can be completely different. So your perspective, my perspective, even Adam's perspective, even Stinky Canadian Trev's perspective is essential and a beautiful part of the sort of collective that we all are a part of. Oh, fuck yeah. That's a 420 answer for you. Okay, let's watch this review here, and then we can talk some more shit.
Talking about the most anticipated #2 of the year, I do want to thank the sponsor of this video. This video is brought to you by Displate. Displate offers high quality prints with millions of options available. Movies, video games, abstract art, whatever your flavor.
Does it sound and look okay, chat? I can't see the stream right now.
Really pops, but now for that extra pop, they've launched Textra. With 3D printed details, selective gloss, and matte effects, it's a textured finish that pops out of the poster. The color's more vibrant, it's art you can feel. All with Displate's easy magnetic mounting system. So if you don't want holes in your drywall or you have a landlord that might feel a certain way about that, no problem. Hanging new prints is as easy as ever. Wipe down the wall, hang the magnet, you're done. Also makes it easy when you want to change it up. So click the link below, go to displate.com/Jeremy. I own the market on the first name, that's neat. Transform your cave with some new Textra prints. And while you're browsing, comment below. Let me know your favorites. And now,
those texture prints seem kind of lit. Does anybody have any? Are they super cool? Should I get a couple? Should I use code Jeremy? Uh-oh. Wait, is that what kind of McAllen is that? 18?
Here we go.
That's not a good sign.
I feel like now that I cut my hair, I look less sad when I pour scotch on camera. Less possibility of a wellness check. So Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scar Giver, is Part 2 of Rebel Moon Part 1, whatever that was called, in which there are going to be two kinds of people in the world. People who did not watch Rebel Moon Part 1, people who did watch Rebel Moon Part 1 once. Either way, you're going to be a little confused in this movie.
I watched it twice.
Like there's a recap. It's just, here we go. I kind of appreciate that, though. There's an Anthony Hopkins voiceover at the beginning that kind of half-asses it, but I was still left with that feeling of, wait, what are we doing in this one again? What was the last one leading to? Then when the fight actually started happening, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. The first one was getting the band together. And
see, the plan with Rebel Moon 1 for me was I was going to watch it over and over again until I liked it. And I kind of gave up after the second time. And I was like, yeah, I'll just have to see about Part 2.
Part 2 is their great Seven Space Samurai moment. Simple in concept, huge in ambition, which doesn't translate to screen. Neither translates to screen, because in execution it comes across as overly convoluted, yet paper thin. Okay, the good out of the way, because I poured scotch, and I do that when there's good. Some of the action was alright. I'm a sucker for a solid, satisfying hit with a laser gun. Sounds like I'm scraping for positives. Well, some of the combat choreography, general cinematography can be ass, no doubt. But there were moments that shine through where I was like, optimist in me wants to recognize that. Oh, another slow-mo shot. Oh man, so much of the slow-mo. Slow-mo shots of really epic moments like cutting wheat. Epic! In Weird Al's Amish Paradise video. Rebel Moon Part 2 just feels like it's wasting time. Which, I love me a good slow-mo shot. Who doesn't? That can enhance when used in moderation. Excessive use of it, you start getting the feeling you get in Rebel Moon, which is okay. So this 2-hour, 5-minute movie or whatever it is actually about 67 minutes of content. I mean, you look at God of War, Kratos has a combo, a classic combo. Yeah. Spam square, spam triangle, and for that last hit, he arcs up and it cuts to slow-mo for that last hit, and bam! It's amazing and satisfying. Now imagine every other hit, possibly 2 out of 3 hits, is a slow-mo shot. Yeah, that would get annoying. It would hamstring the flow. Guess what happens in Rebel Moon? Well, I will leave that for you to decipher. Some of the action in this movie almost, and by almost I mean didn't, but almost could have felt like that game Broforce, but for Star Wars. Ridiculous enough to be fun, involving unlicensed versions of characters from IP. But whereas Broforce, if you haven't played Broforce, side note, it's a fun time. Get a friend, play it, especially if you love action movies. But I'll never call Broforce Dollar Store this or that, because it's supposed to be a celebration of those things, of those IP. Okay. Rebel Moon comes across as Dollar Store, comes across as fanfic. Some of the CGI was fine. Other CGI was complete and total ass. And this movie really runs into a problem in which the point is, actually, it's a skirmish, it's a fight. Involving characters I was constantly going, who are they again? Who is she?
Yeah.
Why do I give a shit? These characters are in pain, in peril, in danger.
Yeah, it felt like the movie decided what it was instead of like earned what it was. And instead of developing a story, it's just like telling you what it is. So ironically, like some of these scenes are like dead on like that. If you've ever, I keep going back to Dungeons and Dragons because again, it just feels like a bad campaign. If you've ever done Dungeons and Dragons, there's what they call a session 0. Session 0 is where everybody shows up, explains their character. The DM kind of explains the dynamic and what the campaign's going to be like. You're not actually playing. You're just explaining a bunch of shit. Unfortunately, that's kind of what a lot of this movie feels like too.
And I just didn't give enough of a fuck, which I feel like Zack Snyder knows, because there's this one very, I guess we'll call it on the nose round table discussion in which they're all talking to each other. And It's like, okay, what's your backstory? And the person gives their backstory. What's your backstory? And they give their backstory. Because when you can't hook the audience to care about the characters in the movie, we'll just give them backstory dump. Came across as lazy. It came across as the character bios in a fighting game. Like, if you just leave Mortal Kombat running and you don't start the fight, you get the character bio. Totally works in a fighting game like Mortal Kombat. Does not work when you're part 2 of 2 and building your movie franchise. Funny enough, the most interesting or at least compelling character in the entire thing is the robot. Or we can concentrate on the Scar Giver. Why is she called the Scar Giver? Why is this called the Scar Giver? I guess that's her nickname because she stabbed the Nazi in space guy and he has a scar that...
Nah, she's Scar Giver before that. And again, it just doesn't...
Tank couldn't get rid of, so I guess she's the Scar Giver now. I've seen it hypothesized that that's not why she's called the Scar Giver. It's because she brings destruction to everybody she comes across. She just leaves a wake of scars in the galaxy, so she's the Scar Giver. But it never really hammers that point home, so if that's why she's called the Scar Giver, and that's why this is called the Scar Giver, that's a huge miss. A far smaller miss is that she's called the Scar Giver because she did in fact give this guy a scar. I don't know, it's a dumb nickname. It just reeks of desperation. You feel like Zack Snyder was like, I want her to have a really cool nickname. Well, she gave him a scar. I don't know, she knocked his teeth out in part 1. Why not call her the dentist? The extractor. People hate dentists. A nickname that sticks, feels earned, or at the very least clever, that requires time. Time and consensus. You look at Game of Thrones, Mother of Dragons, Breaker of Chains, the 78 other titles she gave herself. We had time enough to see her do these actions that led to these nicknames. Scargiver just feels desperate. Like she did a thing once, she beat a guy in a fight. She gets a nickname now, but
it's just unearned. And it doesn't, like, there is no depth there. It's just she is the Scargiver. And even the whole thing with like Titus knowing her secret, and her secret was like the scene, man, where they're supposed to be this big reveal and it shows like the king dying and all this stuff. Oh, I fucking hated it, dude. I was just like, I fucking hate this scene. I hate the way it's being shot. I hate the way it's being acted. I just so a lot of this just is it's just not earned. It's like paper thin. I think that's something a lot of people are saying, and I agree with it. There's no substance here. There's like nothing to latch onto. It's like my brain wants to latch onto part of this movie and enjoy it, and instead, like all I can do, like it's like clashing. It's like the waves against the rocks, man. Like I'm not having a good time.
This doesn't feel earned. In a world where Holloway is not known as the doll maker after that epic KO in 300, she's not the Scargiver. In the end, Zack Snyder, he needs better writers.
Look, that doesn't make any fucking sense. I have no idea why he brought up the UFC clip, but it was awesome. So I'm going to give him a pass.
In the room. He needs writers that can look at his stylistic storyboard ideas and be like, all right, there's something I can work with here. He also needs people who can tell him, no, that doesn't work. You need to do something different. And he needs to listen to those people when they say that. Yeah. He's the classic case of your weaknesses are your strengths and your strengths are your weaknesses, just in certain situations. The guy can make some cool stylistic stuff. We've all seen it happen. Depends on if you love or hate his work, but that's kind of another point. He says his films have always been divisive, and I've seen them be divisive. But with the case of Rebel Moon, no, it's generally speaking, the consensus among critics and audiences is that it's not good.
That's fair. That's a very fair point. And again, I think, the Snyder fan base can be like obviously crazy. And I've been on both sides of that. But I think even this is how you know Rebel Moon is really not good. even the Snyder fan base is not really up in arms, going crazy, torches and pitchforks. They're not really moving on a lot of people that are complaining about. They're more or less having a side conversation, which is, I'm shocked. You know what I mean? And that's not to be disparaging to them. It's just to point out that, like, he's right. It's not divisive. These are pretty widely considered to be bad. That's not divisive. It's like The Last Jedi, right? The Last Jedi is divisive because there's a whole bunch of people that love that fucking movie. And even as somebody that really, really, really doesn't, I can acknowledge there are things in that movie that are great. There are shots, sequences. There's some stuff that he does in that movie that if I didn't absolutely fucking hate other parts of it, I would probably love too. That's a divisive movie. These are not divisive movies.
A real hook in a world where you can tell he wants this to be the next Dune or the next Lord of the Rings. The problem for Rebel Moon is in the case of Dune or Lord of the Rings, if the movies hook somebody, there's more content out there for them to dive into so they can know more about the world. And it's content that's been out there for decades. All Rebel Moon has is Rebel Moon Part 1 and 2. Not only is that it, but these movies haven't given anyone
comics, but who knows
what possibly look forward to what might come next.
Yeah,
at best, it's a Star Wars parody. At worst, it's a Zack Snyder parody. Either way, in terms of the story of Zack Snyder pitched this to Lucasfilm and Lucasfilm said no thank you. Looking more and more like Lucasfilm was being responsible with that call. And that's saying a lot. Rebel Moon Part 2 feels more like number 2. That is to say, dog shit. All right, so Rebel Moon number 2. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? Whatever.
Yeah, I agree. It's bad, man. I think it's worse than the first one, right? Like, real talk. And just where I'm at with it.
Comment below.
You know what is not dog shit though? Because like I've been rewatching some other sci-fi lately too. Y'all ever seen Chronicle of Riddick? Chronicles of Riddick, man. Like the second one after Pitch Black, I think was the first one. That movie's kind of dope. We were watching it the other night. I was like, damn, dude. Like, first of all, I don't remember them just going for it like that. But, like, they go for it like that. Like, he was trying to do his Star Wars at that point. It's got, like, crazy evil space necromancers. One dude who's been to the Necroverse. And now he's, like, come back and he's changed. And, you know, little prison escape sequence. Like, the shit they were doing on that one planet with the super hot sun. You had to stay out of the cycle or you would burn. That sequence is dope. Like, it's a really cool sci-fi movie, man. I really liked it. And I'm like thinking when I'm watching Rebel Moon, like, I'm like, damn, bro, like, what happened here? What happened here? Okay, let's hear. B2, welcome back to the Nerd Vengers. Appreciate you, buddy. Soren says, I'm coming from a place of Leia chase scenes in Kenobi. If you're going to do that, go to the other side because clearly you can't execute properly. Yeah, that's fair, but you're basically saying that you believe that Kenobi was done in that way because they were going for children, right? And I'm telling you, like, first of all, if that's like if they've said that, like, if Kathy came out, right, and she was like, you know, the reason we hid, what's her name, Laura Blair? Is that the actress's name? You know, the reason we hid her under Kenobi's jacket in the one sequence is because Star Wars was really for kids, and you know that's awesome, and that's what we're doing. Well, ironically, that actress herself in an interview said it was silly. She said it was stupid. She said it didn't even make any sense. So again, the kids, even the kids don't like that. So I would say that's not what I'm talking about. That's not them making it for kids. That's them just being lazy or inept at storytelling. It's not because they were making it for kids. Vivian Laura Blair. Yeah, that's her name. But you guys saw that, right? She came out herself and was talking shit on that scene. So it already, like, no. If that's what you call, that's, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. That's not making shit for kids. That's just making shitty stuff. You know what I mean? I almost feel bad for hating on this movie. I love Watchmen and 300, but Rebel Moon is just rookie bullshit. Some cool ideas that go nowhere, but even those are too derivative of what came before. Yeah, nah, it's pretty bad, man. I blame Joby Harold. Me too. I think Joby Harold was undeniably a big part of that. Undeniably. But I can say that about Ahsoka terrible scenes, and you'll respond, it's for kids. No, that's not true at all. It's not true at all. They failed Obi-Wan worse than Obi-Wan failed Anakin. Damn. Good point. Good point. Like, if you don't get what I'm saying, like, that's fine. But you can't interpret what I'm saying in, like, your own way and then say that's what I'm saying. You're putting words in my mouth. That is not what I've done. Kenobi was only made for Wade. Yeah, poor Wade, man. Poor Wade. You know who else poor? What's Ice Cube's kid's name? Because do you guys remember when he was gassing up his appearance for that shit too? He was like very excited that he was in that show. And it's like, I love the enthusiasm, but oof. That was a rough one. Check your text. All right, Rob. Huh? Oh my God, what is that? Is that a T-bone? T-bone steak? Whew! That's good stuff. I'm jealous, man. I criticized Ahsoka going into space, and ships attacking her were being stupid, flying directly at her. Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. But again, man, I just don't think you're not thinking of it the way that I think of it. I bet if you asked Vivian about that scene, she would say it's cool. So Vivian, the child, probably had a problem with the one thing because it's just so obviously stupid. But, like, diegetically, within that scene in Ahsoka, I enjoy it, and I think a lot of young, enthusiastic people would enjoy it too. And I do think in that regard, like, if it doesn't work for you, that's fine, but that's also subjective. The adventure of that scene is undoubtedly aimed at a more sort of adolescent perspective. And I fuck with that. Does that make sense, man? MK Matt says, do you think creators know their product is trash when they wrap production, or are they too deep in it to see the reality? I bet it varies. I'm absolutely sure that there have been creators that knew they had some shit, you know, for sure. Like Madam Web, right? But there are also examples of entire studios and productions being sort of caught off guard. Like The Last Jedi or Quantumania, right? So according to the reports out there, Marvel thought they had like a killer movie in Quantumania. Yeah, they didn't. So I'm sure it goes both ways. Like, you can absolutely think you have the hot new shit and then be kind of like shocked at how people react to it. But I bet there's a lot of times where they're like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I love that Rebel Moon and Jack Snyder sucking balls was turned to let's crap on Star Wars for the billionth time. Am I crapping on Star Wars? I don't think I'm crapping on Star Wars. I think there's a lot of frustrated Star Wars fans that are like trying to offer up solutions. Like, I think people mean well. Maybe not Agent Llama, you know what I mean? Because he's kind of a prick. But I think most people just mean well. So even the homie that was like, no, Star Wars needs to be more mature. I assume this comes from wanting to enjoy it again and just offering up solutions. And I'm all about that. Like, I think that's cool. And I'm just telling you my opinion, my perspective on it. And like this idea that like maturity is the way out for Star Wars. I reject that personally. And that's what it is. D Murdoch says with a 10, appreciate you, brother. Says, hey, Josh, take my money. How about a little 420 Diamond Lounge stream? And did you see the wild tweet by Ilya about Holloway? Bro is corny as fuck and drunk with power. Much love, Josh. Quote of the day. That's a fantastic super chat. Thank you for that. No, we're not going to do a Diamond Lounge. I'll kick it with you guys for a little bit longer, though. We'll chat it up. When it comes to Ilya, yeah, I don't know, man. It's kind of weird, right? I obviously like Max way more than him. I like a lot of people way more than this guy. Maybe a little bit because he beat Volk, and like I fucking love Volk, so I'm a little bit irritated at that. I also like kind of just don't like the way the guy's moving. Like he's like walking around Spain like he's king of the world, going into these big stadiums and shit. And on the one level, I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Like that's good, and it grows the sport potentially, and that's good. But also like, bro, like, I don't know. You were kind of fast-tracked. I understand he's a hot prospect, but I think there's a ton of people that could take that belt. So we'll see. I think Max will take him. Yeah, we'll just see. I still think Volk deserves a rematch on that shit. So, yeah. Madam Webb has entered the chat. Yeah. Neil Blomkamp's Sci-Fi better than Snyder's Sci-Fi. I don't know if I can agree. I mean, look, I really like Neil Blomkamp. Do you guys know who Paul Greengrass is? Anybody? Paul Greengrass is kind of like, he reminds me a lot of the sensibility that Neil has. Like, I like a lot of stuff that Neil does, but there's something about his like editing and shot selection that's kind of jarring. I prefer Snyder's style, but like District 9 is dope. Chappie's cool. Elysium's cool. So I like Blomkamp. I think he does some really good stuff. I like even the Halo shit that Blomkamp did back in the day. I don't know if you guys have seen it. There's like I think it was a 4 or 6 part like mini Halo thing. I think it was done for Halo 2 or 3. Weta was on it, so Peter Jackson was like helping with like the props and stuff. It's fantastic. So I like both of those guys a lot, but I'm more of a Zack Snyder fan, to be honest with you. Jonathan Majors carried the film. Which one? Quantumania? Oof. I don't know. Maybe, I guess. And when they actually try to go for adults, we get Andor. Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of my point. I think a lot of the people that are like clamoring for more mature or adult Star Wars, like they just basically want Andor. That's cool, man. You can want what you want. I just like I just reject that idea. Like to me, it's almost like certain dishes of food. Like there's a scene in The Menu. And I've not seen The Menu. I don't like scary movies. But I've seen this one particular scene because it kind of went viral. A lot of people were sharing it on like Twitter and different social medias. It's at the end of the movie where she just wants a cheeseburger. Do you guys know what scene I'm talking about? Have you seen The Menu? There's a part where she just wants a cheeseburger. It's not even scary. Why does everybody say the same thing? I say I don't like watching scary movies. Everybody always says the same thing. It's not that scary. All right. Anyways, point is, she doesn't want some fancy gourmet thing. She just wants a cheeseburger. It's like Ratatouille. Ratatouille is not a fancy dish, man. It's squash and shit. It's like a poor person's dish, almost like ravioli. Ravioli was invented by fucking poor people. You know what I mean? I don't actually know that to be the case, but I would assume so. You're just wrapping stuff up in pasta. The point is, to me, Star Wars is a cheeseburger. Like, I don't need it to be a lobster carbonara. But I need it to be a really good cheeseburger. But it's a cheeseburger. I don't think you need to, like, make it sophisticated to make it good. And that's just the take. You know what I mean? It's not a scary movie. Suspenseful, maybe. So you're telling me, if I look up the menu right now on, like, IMDb or, what's a good place to look up the menu? You're telling me, within its categories, it's not going to say horror? Oh, let's see here. Comedy, horror, thriller. Why is it always like this? You know what I mean? Like, why does everybody fight me tooth and nail on every goddamn thing? Like, what do I gotta do? I don't know what it's gonna say. Don't really care. It's not horror. Dude, I now understand why you like the dad from Bluey so much. Because you basically are the dad from Bluey. They always doubt you, Josh. Yeah, see, D? You see, D, Murdoch? I'm in here working on a Saturday. And we got everybody fighting me tooth and nail on everything. I don't know what it says. Don't really care. It's not horror. Sheesh. Revenge of the Sith was a gourmet burger. I'm eating good. I guess they do kind of have gourmet burgers. But here's the thing. I think a gourmet burger still has to be a burger. Let's talk about gourmet burgers for a second here. Y'all ever been to Red Robin? What was the last burger we've had in live action? You mean from the Star Wars perspective? Like Rogue One? To me, Rogue One's a pretty good burger. The menu is actually really fun and fascinating commentary on art, critics, and creators. It's pretty good. Yeah, I've heard it's pretty good. I'm not besmirching it. I just don't like horror. Rogue One. Ha 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 ha. You see, Agent Llama, this is what I mean. It's like, we can only talk when you're trying to, like, get a reaction or shit, dunk on something. Sheesh. Wait, what? Are people saying Red Robin's trash? I know you're all not about to say Red Robin is trash. Guys, about to say if you ever had a Denny's burger. Denny's? Denny's ain't bad, bro. Are we shitting on Denny's now? Wait a minute. Chat, hang on a second. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. Is there anything that you guys like? Do you like anything? Sheesh. Holy cow. Okay, anyway. I like burgers. New Star Wars is dog shit, not lobster. Quote of the day. That's, yeah, that's fair. Chat is full of edgelords. Yes. Yes, you edgelord hipsters. Can't you just fucking enjoy some shit? We got fucking Agent Llama props like Rogue One. Isn't Rogue One widely considered the best Disney Star Wars movie? I'm sorry, I like Rogue One. You don't like Rogue One, Agent Llama? Sheesh. Hey, chat, throw a 1 into the chat. Wait, you like Rogue One too? I don't understand that. What are you laughing about? Am I missing something? Or are you just laughing because it's been a long time? I didn't even say what to throw a 1 into the chat for, did I? People are just throwing it in. That's kind of funny. Throw a 1 into the chat if Agent Llama is wrong. All right. Anyway, let's talk about gourmet burgers for a little bit here. Okay. You know what I gotta do? I gotta stop looking at chat. Young Kraka over on Twitter says burgers and Daredevil Coca-Cola. Hell yeah, brother. Now that's the kind of chat I want to see. And he threw a 1 into the chat. My man. Okay. Let's talk about gourmet burgers. Let's talk about Red Robin. Have you guys ever been to Red Robin? You guys ever have any Red Robin? Josh is one hell of a burger himself. I don't know what that means, but yes. Oh, they got some great burgers there, okay? Couple of my favorites. They got an A1 peppercorn burger, okay? It's on a particular bun. It's got this like A1 peppercorn sauce. I think it's got like Swiss cheese, peppered bacon, you know, the nice big patty, and it's got its own very unique flavor with that A1 peppercorn kind of a flavor. That shit's fire. I like the bonsai burger. Big old slices of pineapple on your burger. Yeah, that's right. Pineapple on pizza. Pineapple on burgers as well. Little teriyaki sauce on the pineapple. Bacon. Whew. Oh my gosh, bro. So good. So I think the thing about a gourmet burger is ultimately it still just kind of has to be a burger, right? Like it can't get too far away from burger, then it becomes something completely different. You know what I mean? So basically what I'm saying is I'm right. You know, that's what I'm trying to say. Is basically I'm right. Pineapple everything. Oh my God, Adam, we finally agree on something. A Wagyu burger. Oh, you're saying I'm a Wagyu burger. Well, thank you. I've never had a Wagyu burger. Would you have a Wagyu burger? Is that a thing? I feel like you would eat your Wagyu differently. Can you get a medium rare burger at Red Robin? Yeah, but you have to just say pink. Like they'll be like pink or no pink, and you can be like, nah, no pink or pink. You can't say like medium rare. They'll slash you, throw you out in the gutter. How many blinkers does it take for you to enjoy Rebel Moon? I don't think that's a thing. Because trust me, I tried. I don't know if there is such a number. So, Wagyu burger is absolutely a total waste of Wagyu. I assume that's what you're going to say. Nah, we don't have all that gourmet fast food here in Denmark. Well, first of all, get with it, bro, because America does excess pretty well. Also, it's not fast food. We have burgers that don't come from fast food joints. They're like actually like really well made, great burgers. You come to America and you try some Red Robin. I love Red Robin. Hashtag not sponsored. Yeah, it's slow food. Exactly, Overbound. Exactly. And you can get an adult milkshake there. Whew. Throw a little vodka in your milkshake. What kind of burger is Rebel Moon Part 2. I need to think about this. I'm going to give you a good answer. Rebel Moon's like a couple of day old McDonald's hamburger served cold. Just a regular McDonald's hamburger, not a Big Mac, not a quarter pounder, like $1. Cold Big Macs are awesome. I said it's not a Big Mac. That your uncle yoinked into. Jesus. All right, well, we're going to call it there. It's been real. Really enjoyed streaming with you guys on a Saturday. It was really fun. I especially loved the part where I had the best take ever about Rebel Moon, but it wasn't good enough. It was also fun when everybody was arguing with me about my takes about Star Wars. That was really cool. I also loved when I was talking about the X-Men thing and how fucking awesome it was, and we didn't talk about that at all. Nobody cared. Nobody's understanding that that shit's gonna be dope. Yeah, definitely my favorite kind of a stream. Damn, I just got here. Damn Californians. Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. It was very engaging, Josh. Oh, thanks. A fan asked Stan Lee if Gladiator had any kryptonite. Okay. Overbound with a 10. Hey, thanks for the 10, man. Says X-Men will be dope. Hilarious stream. Yeah, I had fun. I'm just playing with y'all. I had fun. Josh really thinks some sex scenes would make these movies better. Stop destroying your credibility before it's too late, Josh. You sound like Campia. God damn it. Is this a Diamond Lounge preview? Oh, it gets way crazier in there. Eli says, first time Josh seen one of my chats. Love the stream. Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate you. Papa Josh working on a Saturday to pay for his coke problem. Yeah, you ain't lying. You ain't lying. The impromptu stream saved my 420. That's great. That's beautiful. What the fuck you doing live on a Saturday, bro? Well, I happen to have the best Rebel Moon take on the internet. So I was like, I'll come into chat, I'll share it. Now, I saw it going a certain way, okay? I was like, I'll get in here, I'll start talking my shit, and then everybody's gonna be like, damn, dude, like, that's actually, I never thought about it. That's a good take. So not only is that kind of interesting, and I can see where he's going with it, but now I'm kind of excited about the director's cut somehow. Like, how did this man work his voodoo magic on my spirit? You know? So that's how I thought it was gonna go. All right, everybody. Much love. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for being here for real, for real. Much love. And I'll see you on Monday unless I decide to stream tomorrow. We'll see. Appreciate you. Take care of yourselves. As I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day. And I'll see you in the next video. That was the greatest take for Rebel Moon 2 that's currently on the internet, and you're welcome. Oh, and there was a side of other incredible takes on Star Wars and the X-Men. You're also welcome.